Hey y'all, welcome to Bookishrealm. If you are back, thank you for returning. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Let's go ahead and get all the particulars out the way. If you're looking for ways to follow me on social media as I readjust my shirt, of course, all those links will be down in the description box below. Looking for ways to support the channel, they're going to be down in the description box below. Remember, if like what you're seeing, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications if you want to see more content from me. Okay, so let's dive into this discussion of sorts, I suppose, I guess. I don't know. So if you didn't know, here in the United States, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's amazing because there's so much stuff that's been happening in this country lately that, I mean, this is the prime time to really think about mental health. I think even globally, the collective trauma that I think we've all experienced with the pandemic has, I think, taken a toll on all of us in terms of our mental health. And I think we're all still in recovery process. And I mean, COVID is still alive and well. It hasn't just disappeared. much to some people's surprise. It hasn't just, disappeared off the face of the earth. But I think that we are still feeling the effects of what we experienced. And, this is something that'll be written in the history books for generations after us to learn about. And to have lived through an experience like that, I never thought in a million years, after learning, about influenza in history, I never thought that I would actually be living out an event like that. So I just, thinking about the mental well-being of all of us collectively. But, with Mental Health Awareness Month, I thought that it would be a good time to not only share with you, but also to kind of check in with myself about how I balance the well-being of my mind, my body, and my soul, being a content creator here on Booktube. I do content on Instagram, but I primarily do a lot of content creation here, a lot of reviewing on Goodreads, and it's a lot. And so a lot of times I do have to check in with my mental health because I do content creation. This is in addition to my full-time job that I work. I work a 9 to 5, like the average person. And I'm also a single parent. And so thinking about how I balance things out and how do these things impact my mental health. And so I just wanted to kind of sit down and talk about this a little bit, because I think a lot of times I get questions of like, how do you do this all? How are you managing to do this? And a lot of times I have to remind people that I am human. I am not Superwoman. And a lot of times there's a lot that goes on behind the camera that y'all never are privy to. A lot of things that I do not put on social media because of personal reasons and just not wanting to showcase everything in my life via the internet. There was a time before we didn't put everything that we were doing on the internet. I grew up in a time before social media was really a thing. And so it's a different vibe, different energy. I struggle sometimes. I'm going to start there. I'm going to be transparent and be honest. There are moments in my life where I do struggle, where I feel overwhelmed, where I feel like I am not doing something in some area. I'm lacking, whether that, am I being the best parent that I can be? Am I doing the best job that I can do at my job? Am I providing, good enough content that people are going to enjoy? Are my reviews up to the standards that I've set forth for myself? I think one thing that's kind of changed about me this year is that it's all about finding a balance and all about centering myself, because there have been times in doing all of these things that I have been extremely stressed out, that I have completely collapsed. I have completely broken down, and y'all would never know that. A lot of people do not know that. I've only shared some of those moments with people that I'm very, very close to in my personal life, or people that I have gotten to know over the past 3 to 4 years being a part of this community. I don't trust that information with a lot of people because I've also grown up in America as a Black woman. And so that in itself, there's a lot of pressure to constantly be strong and to push through everything, to be the backbone that holds everything together. And that is a thing that was placed on me that I don't like. And it is something that I think we are told to wear as a badge of honor, where, you know, you're the strongest person I know. And it's like, I would rather not have that label anymore. I would rather not live up to that expectation and that label as much as it has been given to me from child to adulthood. But there have been times when I have felt like I don't want to do this. I have done booktube videos. I think I did one last year where I completely just was like, I want it to be done with booktube, because it just was becoming too much. The expectation, the need to put out a certain type of content, the need to keep up with the Joneses, while also balancing a full-time job and being a parent. And at the time I was beginning the process of looking for a house. It was feeling a little unrealistic, and at times still being 100% transparent with y'all, sometimes still it feels as though it's too much. And so what are the major ways that I have started being more aware of my mental health and taking care of me? Because I think putting and pouring into me and my energy and what I need and what I want is a way to make sure that I am in the correct place when I think about my mental health, is that I've been trying to find balance. So I have gotten to the point where I am not going to stay up all night reading a book for content. I am not going to stay up all night editing a book or editing a video for content. I will write reviews when they get done. I put my child first and foremost above everything. I always have, but I think that everything else will literally be on the back burner. Literally, it has to be on the back burner. It cannot come before my child whatsoever. When it comes to my job, what gets done there is what gets done there. I do not bring it home. I cannot bring it home because that's not in the purview of what I feel like is my job duties. And so I'm not going to do it. I have taken back up to making sure I'm eating a well-balanced diet. I have gone back to making sure I'm doing some type of physical activity 3 to 4 times a week. And this is not about, oh, this huge weight loss journey. If it comes with it, it comes with it. But I know that getting enough sleep, putting good food into my body, working out is what has made me feel very, very good in the past. In terms of my interactions with the community and content, is no stress. Like, if I get to it, I get to it. This is not my full-time job. There is no one who is coming down and telling me, this is your job evaluation. Here's what you did well. Here's what you didn't do well. This is what you need to work on. I think that it's easy to be a part of this community and get caught up in the, I need to come out with the latest and greatest. And this is not to knock anyone that does. If you do, this is your full-time job, or maybe this isn't your full-time job, but this has just been your dream to be a part of this community, then I'm not going to knock you. I can only speak for me in my experience, but I know me and how I function, and I refuse to allow my mental health to go at the expense of social media. And so whether my channel, I've come to this place and I've talked about it a lot, but I think that my mouth and my mind have clicked into place where I have got to stop putting my value and worth into my content and what I read and what I don't read. I literally cannot do that. It is tough. It is very, very tough to do that, to separate your value from your content, especially when you see people who may not, and I don't want to say, let me make sure I'm wording this correctly, especially when you see people who excel very, very quickly. It's hard to not question, what am I doing wrong or what am I doing right? But I have gotten to this place, this comfortable place, where what gets out is what gets out, and what succeeds is what succeeds, and what doesn't, it doesn't, because it's not worth the mental toll that it takes on you to get caught up in that foolishness anymore. I am not concerned about how many books I read at this point. What I read is what I read. If I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, I don't. Like, I think that it is not a blasé attitude, but it's like, you have to remember, for me, and this is me speaking to myself, you have to remember why you did this. You have to check yourself on why you wanted to be a part of this community, and you have to remember that your entire stock of life could not be into a social media platform. And finding that balance is tough, because as a creator, like I always say time and time again, you want your content to do well, but you can't put your worth behind the content either, because people are going to watch what they want to watch, and that's just the way it is. You may have a video that does well and another video that completely does not do well by your standards, but putting your value and your worth into it, trying to keep it with the Joneses, trying to create content because you want to get views, it takes a toll on your mental health. And a lot of times I feel like it's hard to stay true to you, and it's hard to keep up that energy. It's really, really hard to keep up that energy. At least for me, it is. Now, another thing too that I've had to realize is that everybody is not going to like you. It is what it is. If you are a person that is used to getting along with a lot of people, and I'm not going to say that is or isn't me, because I feel like I'm just kind of like, if we get along, we get along. If we don't, we don't. I'm also older. So you get to a certain point in your life where you're kind of like, your friends are kind of set. You kind of get set in your ways, and so certain things don't bother you as much. I'm not saying they don't bother you at all, but they don't bother you as much because you kind of get a little set in your identity. At my age, I think it's not perfect. I don't think people don't evolve or change as they get older, but I think you become a little bit more secure in who you are as a person as you get older and you go through more experiences. But I think that one of the things too in better managing your mental health is recognizing the fact that everybody's not going to like you and everybody's not going to like your content. That's not always an easy pill to swallow for people. Another pill that's not always easy to swallow for people is that people are going to come and say some nasty shit on your channel. It is inevitable. If I ever read all the comments that I get, especially when I do more controversial videos and I kind of am stating my opinion or views on certain things, that's when it gets down and dirty and ugly with people. And it sucks sometimes because you literally open up, because if you're not a creator, YouTube has what's called YouTube Studio as an app that you can put on your phone where you can check just your daily progress on how videos are doing, comments and stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard when you're getting your day started and you go and you look in the YouTube Studio and somebody has left you a nasty ass comment. That's not how anybody wants to start their day, but I think also recognizing that it's inevitably going to happen, because when you put yourself out on the internet, it kind of comes with the territory at this point. And I'm not saying that anybody should get used to that or you should accept comments that come your way that are not kind or friendly or rather negative and nasty and demeaning. I've had people comment on the way that I look, and that's just kind of like, for me, it's not so much about internalizing those comments. It's now, for me, for mental health, it's about not reacting, because it takes more energy for me to react than to just ignore the comment, delete it, and block that person from my channel. And so I've gotten to the point where that is just like, I'm just not going to deal with it, because it's not worth wasting my mental energy on someone who wants to come to my channel with negativity, especially when I do my discussions. I'm very much so, I'm okay with people disagreeing with me or having different ideas or thoughts, because that is the hallmark of a good discussion and conversation, is when we have dissenting opinions. But we can have those opinions like adults and not getting like a child and getting on the internet and having a temper tantrum because somebody said something that you fundamentally disagree with. And but sometimes those comments, they come And people are going to critique you. People are not going to like you. People are going to attempt to drag you for filth. And it can take a toll on your mental health. It could take a very, very drastic toll on your mental health. But unfortunately, I think that this is where having, you know, a good support system and being secure in yourself and your identity is where that will help you. I also recommend, like, honestly, even in being in content creation, like, you should have a therapist. Like, seriously. As weird as it may sound, like, even therapy sometimes is a good way to kind of work out what you're doing on social media, being a part of this community, because honestly, it's a part of your life. It's a part of your social interactions, whether it's in person or not. With, you know, it's all digital, but still, it's still impacting and affecting you in some way. So for me, I think that it is just being mindful of the energy that I am allowing to invade my space, what energy I'm welcoming into my space, and no longer engaging with the negativity and the nastiness that sometimes comes my way because of certain content that I'm just, and usually, honestly, y'all, it's the weirdest discussions that get, like, I've had people literally go back and watch old discussion videos just to attempt to drag me. And it's just like, if you want to waste your time doing that, hooray for you, good for you, but I'm not going to waste my time engaging or getting into a back and forth, or I'm just not gonna do it, because there's a difference between having a discussion with someone and then just being blatantly just nasty. Like, I'm all for, hey, you know, I disagree and here's why I disagree. I'm like, you know what, I can respect that, but then coming for a person on a discussion video just to come for them, not about the discussion, but you're just coming for them, is, I just can't engage with stuff like that. So yeah, but I think that for me, finding that balance has been the priority in managing my mental health in the community. It's been the priority in making sure that my mental health is where I need it to be, because I do deal with a series of mental illnesses that I do not openly disclose or discuss, because I just don't feel comfortable doing that. Because there's a lot of stigmas that come with some of the mental illnesses that I have, and I don't feel like battling with people over something that I deal with on a daily basis and has a lot of stigmas associated with it. And I just hate having to have discussions about it, and so I just don't openly disclose. But I think for me, that managing those illnesses or conditions, I think that it has been about learning the appropriate coping skills and having a balance in my life of making sure I'm managing expectations here. I think that's the key, and I think that that's something that a lot of people in the community could use, is having a sense of managing your expectations and not letting this define you as a person or letting this be your entire world. I think that that's dangerous too, is when you allow social media to become you in your entire universe, when there's a whole world out there to explore right outside your front door. And I think that that's also a symptom of the pandemic. I think that because for the longest time, I mean, social media has always been its thing, but I think that the pandemic forced us to rely on building those social connections on the internet so much that the essence of going outside and literally touching grass is, like, people say that, but it's a reality for us now. Like, we are so consumed by social media that it's kind of the idea of, like, just go outside and breathe. Like, you can't live your entire life via social media. You've got to get out the door. And I say this as someone who's been wrapped up in social media like that, who's been consumed by it, and I had to have a really good reality check that was, get your ass out the door, go and live your life. Social media will be here regardless of whether you come back or not. You know, this is not your livelihood. This is not your pure existence. You cannot define your life based off of being a part of this community. And as much as I love it, as much as I enjoy being a part of it, this is not a forever thing for me. And I can't allow my mental health to be ruined over something that's not a forever moment. It is literally a moment, a small moment, in what I hope is a long and extensive life. And I can't let my life be just this. So, you know, that's it. That's just, you know, how I've been managing my mental health while being a part of this community. And it's taken me time, y'all. I have been around for so long, and I always say that, but it's so true because it makes me feel so old. I've been around for so long to, it's just now for me at this point, it literally is, it feels like it's finally making sense. And that could also be because I'm getting older, and it's a lot of things in my personal life too where I've just been like, no, I'm not okay with it, so I'm not doing it. And I've drawn that hard line for a lot of situations that I think in the past I would have been a little more shaky on. But as I've gotten older, it's just like, you know, I'm well established. I am not the, you know, most successful or the wealthiest person in the world, but I'm happy. I'm content with my life. I'm content with the family that I have, you know, the friends that I've built, the friendships that I've built. And, you know, me and my daughter kind of rocking it out. Like, you know, I'm happy. And it feels so damn good to say that. To sit here and be like, I am finally happy. And I just don't want anything to mess it up for me. And I won't allow anything to take that from me. So managing my mental health is just understanding that I always have to put me first instead of putting this community first, instead of putting content first, instead of, you know, live show this and this and that. Because it comes and goes. And after everything that I think I've been through in my life in the past, you know, 5 years, to sit down and get to a point where I can say, I am so happy. And happiness is different for everyone. And my happiness is, I am at peace. I am in such a peaceful place in my life that you treasure and you honor that so much that you just won't let anything or anyone take that from you. So that's how I manage it. Balance. Maintaining my peace. I appreciate that. So yeah, let me know how you manage your mental health, whether you're a creator, whether you're a viewer. You know, how do you find balance in your life? As always, like I said in the beginning, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content, click the subscribe button, support the channel, follow me on social media. All the links will be down in the description box below. And I'll be back with another video. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month, y'all. I definitely will have some resources linked in the description box below if you are looking for some resources just to help you through some things if you're going through a tough time. I'm sending you all love, light, hugs, all of the above. If you're willing to accept it, I want to respect everyone's personal boundaries. Peace.